She came from a land of red soil and endless sky. Jane Kariuki was 42 years old, a Kenyan immigrant, a homeowner, a daughter, a sister. She had migrated from Kenya to the United States and built a life in the greater Seattle area, a life that was entirely, unmistakably her own. She owned her home in Kent, Washington. She maintained her household. She held full authority over her space, and she was surrounded by people who loved her. A sister and brother-in-law nearby, and a mother, Rosemary, waiting for her back in Kenya. Crystal David Murphy arrived in the Pacific Northwest carrying a past he never disclosed. Long before setting foot in Washington state, Murphy had lived on the East Coast, where a manslaughter conviction in North Carolina was already part of his record, a pattern of volatility that had crossed state lines. In the early 2000s, he relocated to the greater Seattle area and eventually settled in Kent, where he met Jane Kariuki. He moved into her home, and the control began almost immediately. Investigators would later describe him as a man who could not regulate his emotions, unpredictable, detached. When things did not go his way, he did not communicate. He intimidated. February 2006. The King County Sheriff's Department was called to the Kent address for the first time. Murphy had beaten Jane, dragged her across the room, shattered glass objects around the house. He grabbed kitchen knives. He threatened to kill her. And then, when the officers arrived, the rage simply vanished. He was calm, seated, completely detached, as if nothing had happened. It was a behavioral trait investigators would note again and again, the capacity to shift from uncontrollable violence to eerie stillness in an instant. He was arrested, sentenced to 60 days in jail. A strict no-contact order was issued. But in 2007, Jane petitioned the court to have that order lifted. She wanted him back. The court granted her request. Murphy returned to the house. And months later, he attacked her again. A second assault, a second arrest, a second conviction, a legally documented pattern of chronic, escalating danger. October 16, 2008. Jane Kariuki had made her decision. Murphy had to go, permanently. She ordered him to pack his belongings and vacate her home. Rather than accept it quietly, he triggered a day-long standoff inside the residence. Jane called her brother-in-law for help. He arrived to serve as a buffer, a physical presence between Jane and the man who had already hurt her twice. To get Murphy out of the house without provoking an immediate escalation, the brother-in-law suggested they all get into his SUV. They would drive north to Northgate, drop off a friend of Murphy's, and then return to Kent so Murphy could collect his things under supervision. Murphy understood the arrangement. He knew his time in that house was finished. As the SUV traveled southbound on Interstate 5, Murphy sat in the back seat, directly behind Jane, watching her, realizing that his control over her life was entirely broken. Rather than accept it, he drew a hidden 4-inch knife. He put Jane in a chokehold from behind, and while the vehicle moved at highway speed, he stabbed her 31 times, in the neck, the face, the chest. The brother-in-law pulled over to the shoulder near the North 85th Street exit and called emergency services. While he fought to save Jane's life, Murphy calmly stepped out of the back seat. He tossed the bloody knife onto the ground, walked to the concrete guardrail, sat down, and lit a cigarette. When Seattle police officers arrived moments later, he surrendered without a word. The same eerie, detached calm, the same expression, as if nothing had happened. Jane Kariuki was rushed to Harborview Medical Center. She did not survive. That evening, she was pronounced dead. Crystal David Murphy was charged with first-degree domestic violence murder. Due to his out-of-state manslaughter record and his documented pattern of chronic domestic abuse, the judge set bail at $5 million. On September 24, 2009, Murphy pleaded guilty. The evidence was overwhelming. At the November sentencing hearing, Rosemary Kariuki, Jane's mother, had traveled from Kenya to face the man who had taken her daughter. She stood before him in that courtroom and asked why. Why 31 stab wounds? Murphy, maintaining the same detached demeanor that had defined him throughout, told the judge he did not know why he had done it. He offered the family nothing. On November 20th, 2009, King County Superior Court Judge Palmer Robinson sentenced Crystal David Murphy to 31 years in prison. The judge made his reasoning explicit: 1 year for every stab wound inflicted upon Jane Kariuki. 31 stabs, 31 years. Jane Kariuki was 42 years old. She had built her life with her own hands. She deserved to live it.